Welcome to Safeguarding for Children at Your School. Today we're going to talk about how we protect our children at our school. How do we protect and ensure safety of all of our children in our care? Who is responsible for student safety? Who do we report to when we have a concern? Why do we need to ensure the student safety? Just think about that for a moment there. Think about those questions. Think about the children in your school and think about why we need to protect them and what are we protecting them from. Okay, what does safety mean? What is safety to you? There's a dictionary definition here. The condition of being protected from unlikely to cause danger, risk, or injury. So, safety is protecting children from danger, risk, and injury within the school. So, making sure they are well, they are protected, they are safe, and there is no harm. Okay, what does harm mean? HARM. What does harm mean? Harm means a physical or injury or damage to the child. Yeah. So we're thinking about the children being harmed, hurt, not protected, not safe. So think about both those things, safety of the children and when children are in harm. So who is responsible for children's safety? Everyone who works with children has a responsibility for keeping them safe. So it says everyone. Everyone who works with children has a responsibility to keep them safe. No single teacher, educator, practitioner, or adult can have a full picture of a child's needs or circumstances. And if children and families are to receive the right help at the right time, everyone who comes into contact with them has a role to play in identifying concerns, sharing information, and taking prompt action. What does this mean? Who is responsible for children's safety at your school? What's the answer? Everyone. Everyone who works with children is responsible. If somebody in your school is not safe and they are being harmed, then it's your responsibility to take action and share the information with someone like the principal in the school and work out how to protect them, how to get them the help they need. Okay, I'm going to ask you to think about 4 areas in your school where you must take responsibility for the children. It's the responsibility of the school to make sure that students come to school feeling safe and welcomed. So, number 1, do your children come to school feeling safe and do they feel welcomed by the adults in your school? Do the children feel they can trust you? They have a trusting relationship with at least one person, one adult in the school. This is really important. Children come to school to be loved, to be nurtured, to be educated. They do not come to school to be hurt, to be harmed, and to be hit or told off. Number 3, understand academic and behavior expectations clearly. Child development. So we think about our children and we think about what they are learning, how they are learning it, how we want them to behave in the classroom, how we want them to behave outside the classroom. Okay, as adults, we set the expectation of behavior. So that means if we are harming the children or we are using a stick to hit the children, then that behavior expectation transfers onto the children. The children will go outside and they will do the same thing to other people. No, we don't want this. This is the wrong behavior. Okay, if we show love, we show understanding, we show compassion, the children will go out of the school and show the same to others. Okay, mental health services. We need to make sure that our children feel mentally well. What does that mean? We need to make sure they are happy, they are safe from harm, they are not being harmed, and they feel trusted and safe around the adults in the school. This is what mental health means. Have a read of this slide. Okay, there's 5 things that we need to make sure our children in our school feel. Okay, physical safety. So if there are other people on the site, they may feel a bit strange, they may feel a bit unsafe around strangers. Okay, so we need to make sure when people are in our building, in our school, that are not usual people around our children, that our children are still feeling safe. They know who is coming in and who is coming out. They know who the strangers are. They know how to behave in front of strangers. I will go through some of this a bit more down below. So think about the strangers that come into the building, the visitors that come into the building. Okay, do we have a login and a logout system for the visitors? This is really important because if something happens, you will have a track record of who came and who went and what happened. Okay, so it's really important that the children know who are coming into the school, why they're coming in, and that you write down on a book the name of the person, the date, and their contact number. Also think about, are we beating the children? Are we beating up our children? The children come to school to learn. Are they there to be hit? Do we hit other people's children? Do we hurt our own children? These are important questions as teachers, as adults, we have to ask ourselves. Is it the right thing to do? Or is it the wrong thing to do? Now, there are 4 types of child abuse. Okay, child abuse means when the child is being abused, when the child is being hurt and harmed. And that could be a physical hurt, that could be a beating, that could be emotional, when the adult is shouting at the child. This is emotional abuse. When we shout at them, we call them names, we tell them they're not clever, they're not intelligent, they're not smart. This is emotional abuse. Now, sexual abuse, inshallah, we will not have that problem at the school. And neglect at home, children who are not being looked after at home, they're not having food, they're not being cleaned properly. So the teachers at school, they will pick up on these issues. And if they pick up on these issues, it's important for you to let the principal know about that child and what's going on at home. It's also important that you, as teachers, as adults in the school, look at one another's behavior. If you see a teacher, a colleague, being abusive, being shouting at a child in the wrong way, unnecessarily, for a very small thing, that's not acceptable. The principal needs to know about this. And if you see one teacher doing it again and again and again, then that teacher has problems. They have anger issues. They don't know how to respond to children in the right way. That also needs to be brought to the attention of the principal. So please look at your behaviors, look at your colleagues' behaviors, look at the behaviors of the adults in the school. Teachers and adults should not be walking around with sticks, and they should not be hurting children, hitting children, or shouting loudly at children. Just have a read of this. The lived experience of the child is what the child sees, hears, thinks, and experiences on a daily basis that impacts on their personal development and welfare, whether that be physically or emotionally. As practitioners, we need to actively hear what the child has to say or communicate, observe what they do in different contexts, hear what the family members, significant adult carers, and professionals have said about the child, and to think about history and context. Ultimately, we need to put ourselves in that child's shoes and think, what is life like for the child right now? So the lived experience, what is this child's experience of school? What do they see, hear, and think every day when they come in contact with you, the teacher, with you, the adult? What are they thinking about you? Do they like you? Are they happy at school with you? Are they safe with you? So we need to think about putting ourselves into the children's shoes and think about what it's like for the child at school. Is it a good experience? Is it a bad experience? Do the children go home crying? Do the children go home happy, singing, laughing? These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves as adults in schools. The children should not be coming to our school feeling sad. Children should be not coming to our school crying. If they are, we have a big problem. Psychological safety. Now, this is a big area. I'm just going to touch on this and explain what that means. Emotional and psychosocial maltreatment destroys a child's sense of self and personal safety. Okay, so if we are abusing children, if we are shouting at them, if we are making them stand in the corner facing the wall, if we are hitting them with a stick, this is all negative to their psychological safety, to their brain and how they feel in their brain. This is all negative. Okay? Inshallah, none of us are doing this in our schools with our children. We are loving, we are compassionate, we have mercy on the children. We protect them, we make them laugh, we make them have fun through learning. Schools must provide the right ambience, the right environment to develop and enrich talents to facilitate the total development of a child's personality. So the children that come to your school are very young. So in your school environment, you are developing their behavior, their culture, their talents, their education, and mostly their personality. Okay, you're helping support their personality and how they will grow up, what kind of people they become. So what does that mean? That means if you are negative towards the children, what kind of personality will grow from this negativity? A negative personality, right? If you are positive to children, what type of personality will grow from positive love, care, and nurture? You will get a positive child in the future. So think about how we speak to our children and how safe and how loving your environment is around the children that come to your school. What kind of childhood should a child have? So lots of the children that come to your school are very young, okay? And it's important that they have good health, they grow and develop with happiness. And that will, in turn, build a very successful personality. Early childhood studies talk about positive adults around children and the positivity that we can give them that supports their childhood experiences. We want them to have positive experiences at school. We don't want them to go home sad. We don't want them to go home negative and crying. Okay, think about your driver, your bus driver, the people that come to clean the school, the people that are around the children but don't teach the children. Okay, so always think about, are the children safe around them? Is that adult behaving in the right way? Watch and look at their behavior with the children. Is it appropriate? Always check with the children and ask the children if they feel safe around the bus driver, the cleaners, and other people around the school. Now, this is a big area. Thinking about the people that we take on into the school, the people that we recruit and employ into our school. That means the teachers, the cleaners, the bus drivers, the cooks, all the people that work for the school. Okay, are they good people? Are they positive people? Are they good citizens? Do they have a clean record? Do they have a good reputation in the community? Do people feel safe around the employees? This is something that the principal and other leaders in the school need to really think about. Physical safety. Now, it's important that in your school you have a fire escape plan, that there is one designated area that every child knows to go to if there is a problem, or if there is a fire, or if there is any other emergency. Okay, any emergency can take place at any time. So we need to train the children and carry out training with the children. Ring a bell and ask them to line up and walk to that one area where they are safe, an open area where they can feel safe and they're not in harm's way of a fire or any other emergency issue. Also, do you know who to contact for an emergency? If there is a major emergency, do you have the numbers of the children's parents? Do you have the number of the principal? Do you have the emergency police ambulance services number? You need to make sure that you know who to contact if there is an emergency, because you are responsible for the children's safety. So finally, safety and learning go hand in hand. Students who feel that they are not adequately supported and safe at school, both physically and psychologically, cannot learn to their fullest potential. Okay, what does that mean? So what we're saying is, if the environment and the adults around the children are not safe, they are not positive, then the learning will not take place. Learning only takes place when the children feel happy, secure, and safe around the adults and the environment that they are learning in. So please, 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 can we reflect? Can we think about all of the items that we just talked about? Can we make sure we have a safety exit emergency plan where the children are trained to move into one area? Can we make sure we all have the principal's contact number in case of an emergency? Can we make sure that all our children come to school happy, come to school clean, come to school awake, and there is no neglect issues at home? If there are neglect issues at home and there are big problems, you need to report that to your principal. If there are any other issues with other colleagues, other adults in the school, you also need to watch carefully, think about it, reflect, and let the principal know. Okay, this is really important to make sure that